Watch out for this. It's being recorded as a hangout on air live on. Yeah. She's here today. Yeah, she's talking this afternoon, but she's coming. So. So this is recording now. We'll be recording in two sections. It's not going to be this afternoon. I'll just say to
Right, I will attempt to get the meeting underway, if I may. Thank you. Before I even begin to say anything, I will ask if everyone can hear what I'm saying. Thank you for that. I have the great disadvantage of being a speaker whose voice doesn't carry. It is a disadvantage, but we have to get over it by shouting. I'm actually shouting now. First of all, microphone. I don't like microphones. Is that better? No? That means everything I say now will be ad-libbed, because over there are my notes. Okay, let's get started. First of all, welcome to this first ever Link4Growth National Conference. It's brilliant to see everybody here. I know some people have had horrendous journeys to get here. They've come miles and miles. Some people have travelled hundreds of miles. Some people, naming no names, have only had to drive for half an hour. Oh. The rest of us have had something more of a journey. Just out of interest, has anyone come more than 200 miles? Goodness gracious me, we have a winner already. Well done, Jerry, thank you very much. We've got a very busy day today. There's a lot to fit in, obviously. No one is going to be bored. It's going to be a very colourful day, a very informative day, and hopefully a very enjoyable day. It's a culmination of 4 years of Link4Growth, where we're putting together all the things that have worked over those 4 years, getting rid of some of the things that clearly haven't worked, and adding some things that are going to work in the future. Everyone hopefully will leave here feeling as though it's been a good day and a worthwhile day. But before I even get underway, I've just got a couple of things to tell you. One, of course, is the housekeeping. There is no plan for an alarm. So if you do hear one, we need to get out of the place, out of the door, turn left. If anyone needs a break, if you go to the door straight ahead, just up there on the left of the toilets. You can get onto the internet, Wi-Fi rather. There is no password if you want to go onto the internet. Also, this is being recorded both this morning and this afternoon. And also, there is a Twitter feed. Yep, it's gone. Okay, back to me. There is a Twitter feed, hashtag L4G first conf, 1STconf. If you'd like to put some Twitter notes or whatever they call them during the day, that would be great. Right, that's the housekeeping. So let's talk about Link4Growth. Let's talk about what we're doing here, why we're here, what we're hoping to achieve today. As I say, it's a full day, so I'm going to make a plea to all the speakers. There are quite a number of speakers. Everyone's got a slot, mainly 15 minutes, except Chris has got longer. Do please keep to your slots. We have a timekeeper here who's going to wave something up in the air if we start to run over time and embarrass us. So do try to keep up to the slot, otherwise we'll be here for a long time. There is a slight mistake on the timings. After lunch, we've got a space there of 15 minutes, which tends not to exist. So lunch will have to be shortened by 15 minutes so that we can keep to time this afternoon. We will be talking about the seven, there are 7 strands of Link4Growth, and we will be having a different speaker explaining about each of those 7 strands. After lunch, the first session will be somewhat light-hearted, because after lunch we don't want anything too heavy, but the whole thing is here to be enjoyed. When I'm running one of my own groups, I have a few corny jokes that I tend to tell, and those people that come to the meetings regularly get really bored with them. But one of the things I always say is that we all know that Link4Growth is for grown-ups. It's not rules and regulations. It's very free and easy. We do what we do because we want to do it, not because we're forced to. But there is one rule, and I get very serious when I say this at my local groups, and I'm going to say it here now because it is serious. Although this is going to be a fun day, do please take one thing very, very, very seriously, okay? When you leave here, you have got to be smiling. Okay? Now, that's the only rule, because if you're smiling, it proves you've had a good day. It's also good when you leave a meeting and people say, what on earth are you smiling like a Cheshire Cat for? And you can tell them it's Link4Growth, and you can tell them all about it. So it's always a good thing to do. Smiling is good anyway. What I'm asked to do just briefly, in this brief few minutes that I have, is a very quick history lesson of Link4Growth. Most people know Link4Growth. We know it started 4 years ago. It started as a business networking group. It very soon became a community and business networking group, because it was appreciated that if we were going to make a difference, and a difference needed to be made in society, we needed to grow communities, etc. If we were going to do that, we had to be a community and business-based organisation, not just business-based, as most other organisations were. That meant inviting and encouraging everybody from a community to get involved, not just business people, obviously, literally everybody who is involved in the community, whether you work or don't, whether you're old or young, able to say, well, black, white, pink or blue, it doesn't matter. If you're part of a community, you're welcome at Link4Growth, because we have these 6 words, and it's the basis of Link4Growth. We meet, we talk, we listen, we learn, we link, and we grow. And from those 6 words, Link4Growth is born. Link4Growth has a job to do. It has a job of building societies, and that's exactly what it does. But Link4Growth is all about changing attitudes. And the theme of Link4Growth will run through today. It's about giving. It's not about, hello, my name is Paul, here's my business card, give me the money. It's about, hello, my name is Paul, what's yours, how can I help you? And the important thing is meaning it. It's easy just to say it, but we need to mean it. And if we mean it, by offering to give, we receive. So you get the same result by offering without asking. And it works. And this is why everybody can understand the concept and the ethos of Link4Growth, because who would argue with being a giving person? We were born with 2 eyes that look that way. They do not look this way. You don't get up in the morning thinking, me, what's in this day for me? We get up in the morning looking outwards, what can I give to this day? That's what Link4Growth is all about. And that's why Link4Growth grows, because that's what being a normal, decent human being is all about. And that is what we are. We're just normal, decent human beings who are interested in other people and want to help where we can. Today, you will find out all the ways that we can get involved with Link4Growth, the ways we can help if we want to. Don't have to, but there is opportunity for absolutely everybody to play their part, small, large, or in between, in their community to make things better. I think that will do as an introduction. Just the one last thing I want to say is that once it was established, 70% of the population didn't network, and we had a massive audience to go for. In fact, only 5% of the 30% that could do, therefore 95% of the population weren't networking. But so we produced what I've got to make sure everybody realises, an umbrella organisation. We are just an umbrella. We don't exist as an organisation as such. We're an umbrella under which all people, all organisations, all business, all people can meet and talk and find out about themselves, each other and their community, and help each other to grow. We were once offered, I don't know if Chris knows this, so I was once offered funding on behalf of Link4Growth by a government department, and we said no thank you, because we don't exist. Once we start being funded by somebody, we become something, and we start to be in competition with other people and other organisations, and that's never been our intention. We are only an umbrella. We want everybody coming under that umbrella and spreading the good things that go on in their community, the good things about themselves and about the people that they know. So positivity, smiling, giving, not taking is what Link4Growth is. And I've already had my 10 minutes, and we're going to be running over if I keep going, so I shall stop now. So the first thing we're going to do, first of the 7 strands, I won't bother to go through them because they're already on your list here. The first person are going to be kicked off, so give 15 minutes of attention, please. Open your ears, open your minds, and listen to what Emma James has to say about item 1. Good luck.
Thank you, Paul. I don't know where I'm supposed to stand in particular, but I should probably be moving about quite a bit. And yeah, actually, give me a couple of seconds to get over the shock that I'm actually standing up and remind myself of what I'm supposed to be talking about, because actually I haven't prepared anything at all for this morning, and that's on purpose, because I'm a firm believer in the way that I live and the things that I do, that what comes out on the day is exactly right. And if only one person gains any benefit from it, then that's good enough. So my name's Emma James, and I am the, oh, I'm really pleased, there's a clock up there. Yeah, cool, so I can kind of see where I'm going. My name's Emma James, and I am the district leader for Milton Keynes, Bedfordshire and North Herts in Link4Growth. And I got involved with, I first became aware of Link4Growth only about, just about 12 months ago. And for those of you who know me, I'm a woman of very few words. And yeah, seriously. Though under duress, I have been known to pull a real few clangers now and again. And I remember a few months ago when I was early on in my role as district leader, I went along to a ladies networking event in Hitchin, and the lovely lady who runs it said, oh, do you want to sort of stand up and tell people about, the events that you run? And I said, oh yeah, that's really great. Thank you ever so much. She kind of grasped this ethos of there's no competition. It doesn't matter how many groups there are. We all draw the people who need to be in the place at a certain time. And it was lovely. So I stood up and I was thinking about the events. I was a bit nervous. And that situation that you get where you kind of think something in your head and you think you said it, but then something else comes out. That real misalignment there. And of course, what actually happened was I said something like, come on, you single ladies, you ought to get down to Link for drinks on a Tuesday evening. It's great for meeting someone, right? Okay. So at which point everyone laughed and I thought, oh, wasn't that funny? And of course someone came back, my friend said to me, oh yeah, go on. And I was like, then of course it would have been all right had I stopped there, but I kind of carried on trying to dig myself out of it. So by the time I left, there were 30 women who thought I was running a dating agency in Hitchin. But hey ho, it might draw some people, you never know. So I'm actually meant to be here talking about community building, but really, that's what it's all about. And so, kind of, what do we mean by community? What is it? And I suppose sort of having a look around, over the last number of years, number of decades, there's been a real change in the way we sort of live as human beings. And so, of course, in the past, we would have had sort of really close-knit communities, and that would have been first and foremost the family. And so we would have lived at least in the same town, possibly in the same road, and quite a lot of times in the same house as our family. And there would have been a lot of that community support going on. Also, the way we work has changed. So, we don't have jobs for life anymore. You would have gone along to their company and you would have been there for the whole of your working life, and there would have been social stuff to do and, and a community. And then, of course, sort of outside of work, outside the family, there were community centres, pubs, and the church. And of course, that part of community has also started disintegrating. And because of funding, community centres aren't running. There's pubs shutting down every day. And we don't go to church like we used to in the same way. Although I would argue that this is a talk for another time, that our spiritual awareness is on the increase at the moment. And it kind of links in nicely with Link4Growth. So, of course, that's what, Link4Growth is all about. It's about providing that space for people to kind of get together. And so at the community events, it really is a place for people to come along. It's all inclusive, anyone can come along. And it's quite interesting because we still, I think we still at events have that sort of question, when people arrive and you don't really know what to say, we kind of often say, oh, what do you do? And it's interesting thinking about that. I'm guilty of it. I will stand there and, someone comes in and believe it or not, I am quite shy really, and have that moment of, oh no, what I'm going to say, what do you do? And it's great because usually quite often we do have people who, a lot of entrepreneurs that come along to our community networking groups. But equally, and I think sort of relating into the things that I have learned over the years, and I don't want to go into a great long story about my own life experience because this isn't what it's about, but we're all the product of our experiences. And of course, it is no accident that I found myself in a Link4Growth meeting event, and it's no accident that I'm kind of, you know, doing the things that I'm doing within Link4Growth. And for me, 6 years ago, you would have seen a very, very different, actually you wouldn't have seen this person stood up here at all. I was unrecognisable from the person I am today. And in a very brief nutshell, I was a chronic alcoholic, and I also had what they call really severe mental health issues. And that was 6 years ago. And the reason I'm saying this is because my recovery began as a result of being part of a recovery community. And, you know, I went on and I trained in a type of mental health support called peer support work. And really, it's all about us sharing our stories with each other, and in a kind of structured way, you know, listening to people, finding out, you know, how they are, and supporting them through the struggles based on our own experiences of recovery. And so that's, you know, for me, as soon as I kind of found Link4Growth, and I kind of sat there and I thought, wow, you know, this is peer support, actually, you know, and a peer, it doesn't have to be about any kind of ill health. You know, we're all peer. If we share an experience with somebody, if we're in businesses, you know, if we have, you know, if we're a certain age group, or, you know, whatever, we're all peers. And actually, you know, that's what it's all about. For me, it was really, really inspiring to come into a place where you could genuinely be yourself and share with others. And of course, those stories that we tell each other are really, really, really important. And of course, there is a I don't know if anyone here has heard of what's my story in Link4Growth at all, but the idea behind that is that everyone who's a member of Link4Growth gets the opportunity to tell their story, and we don't get the opportunity to do this very often, really. And this is about, you know, your 15 minutes with somebody, telling your story, and you can do that. And we now have a new lady who's taken up the gauntlet. Deborah Carey over here is kindly fabulous, and you know, she heard about the what's my story, and she said, oh, that sounds great, I love sharing stories, I love listening to people, and that's what she wanted to do. And of course, this is the thing about Link4Growth. It's not just about the networking events, it's just about everything. There is something in Link4Growth for everybody. And of course, you know, when we kind of sit and listen, and throughout the day when you hear other people talking, you know, think about, you know, what kind of resonates with you, because it really is the opportunity to take something and run for it. And for me, you know, 12 months ago, you know, I was in a space where I didn't really know where I was going with my life. And, you know, I kind of was trying to run a business. It wasn't going very well. And one day I sat actually at a Link for Drinks, I think, with Chris. And I think there were only the two of us there. And I kind of sat there and I said, you know what? I think, you know, I'll set one of these up. You know, really, I had nothing better to do with my time. And I said, I may as well. But for me, because I love giving, I really, really genuinely, it's part of what I do. I'm always giving, and I'd nearly killed myself doing it the year before, in a kind of, you know, slightly unhealthy way. And so when I found this, I thought, this is great. This is a real kind of structured, supported environment where I can just give and give and give and give and give, and I won't, you know, and the thing with it is altruism. So you actually end up inadvertently getting like 5 times the amount, at least 100 times the amount back on top of you. And it's just like absolutely amazing. So I started doing that. And then after a month, I said, right, I'm down in the New Forest quite a lot. Can we set one up down there, please? And he said, oh, all right then. And then had a friend who lives in St. Neots, so we set one up there, and now we've got them opening up all across the district where I am based, and we've got some in central London, and we've got a Link for Business in there, and I know Sue's going to be talking about that later. So And what's happened is, you know, in the process of giving, and really, I think this concept of giving without expecting anything in return, you know, I've kind of met some people, and I've had quite a bit of flack from certain family members and people who say, gosh, how can you, you know, that's ridiculous. You know, you can't just give, you can't just go on. You have no idea what happens. You know, every single day when I go to a Link4Growth meeting, if there's only 2 people there or 1 person there, you know, my world expands as a result. You know, I meet absolutely beautiful, amazing people, and everyone's, you know, able to share with each other and give, and people genuinely give back. And you know, certainly for me in my life, my friendships, my business, everything has grown. And I think, you know, it's a massive inspiring wave of kind of, you know, to go a little bit woo-woo with it, you know, love, actually, you know. And I think in this world where we are at the moment, you know, that kind of massive dollop, a massive dose of positivity is absolutely where we have to be going. And you know, so you don't get any of that. You don't get any of that sort of, you know, moaning and whinging. It's all about positivity. Come on, guys, you know, if there's a challenge out there, if there's something that needs sorting out, let's just do it. Let's just do it. You know, stop with the barriers. Let's just go for it and kind of give and support each other. So I haven't had any. No one's kicked me off yet. This is great. I'm kind of like, I'm used to being kicked off. Yeah, so community building. But for me, you know, just today, yeah, it's quite remarkable being up here. And I've had you know, it's a really emotional journey, actually, and it's going to be really, really exciting over the next 12 months to see, you know, how things have changed, certainly for me. And I can only tell my story. You know, come on, guys, there's 100 of you in here approximately. I'm not going to stand here, okay. You know, let's get all your stories going, and there'll be a list somewhere for you to write down your name. Let's hear all your stories. You know, everyone has a unique place in this society, right? Absolutely everybody. Don't sit there thinking that, oh, it's only little me. Really, everybody. I can tell you now that everybody that I know in this room has given me at least one nugget of absolute beautifulness, and that I can take away with me. And just, you know, I mean, just last night, I was sitting there, and believe me, I've been like this. I've been wired for weeks. I mean, everyone will tell you. Oh, 2 minutes. Okay, great. Everyone will tell you I've been absolutely nuts, really. Honestly, the texts and Facebook messages just probably driving everyone bonkers. But, you know, last night I'm sat there and I'm thinking, oh, I'm just going to sit awake like this all night. Then randomly, about 11 o'clock, I get a message from the lovely Jean. And she's asked me a few questions, and then, you know, or just a couple of things which she said. At one point I thought, oh gosh, I'm going to have to write a 10-page essay for tomorrow, you know, how am I going to do this? And then she said, oh, just don't bother. So I went, okay, don't bother. And so I didn't bother. And then she said, are you still awake? And I went, yeah, go to sleep. Honestly. And I thought, you know, that's a really good idea, Jean. Well done, thank you. You know, and it's like that. I've met people in here who I consider really good friends, who I've never ever seen before. I mean, you know, Deepa, it's been lovely. Where is she? Over there. You know, meeting people. You know, who I've connected with over the internet, on Facebook, and I would never have thought I'd have done that before, you know, meeting people online. But it's absolutely beautiful, and I feel this absolutely massive community surrounding me personally and everybody else. And all you have to do is get on board, you know, jump in with, you know, all your feet. Most people usually have 2, I think, and then just go, you know, and everything, promise you, everything expands, and it's just marvelous. So I don't want to get that out of time one. That's really scary. So I'm actually gonna just leave it there, I think, for a minute. Have fun, really have fun, and come and play it with me today.
Emma is the personification of what Link4Growth is all about. It's all about smiling. It's all about enjoyment. It's all about meeting lots of different people. Just Wednesday we had a meeting with Abbey, just an idea of the sorts of different people. It's one meeting. We had a builder, an engineer, an accountant, an optician, a website SEO expert, a coach painter, a physiotherapist, a charity worker, a management consultant, a youth project leader, a Morris dancer, a local about my area owner, a health professional, a town twinning representative, telecoms and community systems installer, and a fine arts printer. That was just a one meeting. And it's not all about business, but it's all about finding out about these people. And it's amazing what happened just at that one meeting, the connections that were made and the positivity that came out of that. And it comes out of every meeting. Right, I'm not here to talk, I'm here to introduce. And the next person to speak, possibly no one has met him before. You've probably never even heard of the guy. He's new to Link4Growth. He's getting the hang of it. So bear with him. He may stumble over some of what he's about to present, but he will get there eventually. The second part of our seven strands, community kickstart initiative, created, presented, and fully understood by Chris O'Neill.
So good morning, everyone, and what an amazing feeling watching all these people come into today's conference. It's been, it's a bit like having a birthday party. I kind of know 96% of everybody that's here, which is just fantastic, and just so amazing to bring everybody together this first time. It's and I know there were so many people, like Emma said, who know people online but have never actually had the chance to meet, and that's the reward for me bringing everybody together today, is to just see that happening, because it's absolutely phenomenal. Now I'm going to talk about the Community Kickstarter Initiative, which is something which has been born out of experience. We've been running Link4Growth as it is since August 2012, and actually it'll be the anniversary tomorrow, the 4th year that Link4Growth kind of got started. But for the first 6 or 7 months, we really hadn't got a clue what we were doing. And we sort of stumbled from one thing to another, trying things out, trying to come up with something that we thought was needed, was different, and that had longevity. And but we made loads of mistakes. We went down loads of blind alleys that I got told off for doing things I shouldn't be doing by a few people, but one mostly. She knows who she is. But it's been a heck of a journey. And but what we needed something different. And so during this year, basically we came up with what's called the Community Kickstarter Initiative. Who's heard about that? Okay, quite a few of you, but a lot haven't. Okay, so I'm going to go through a few things here. I'm going to go through some of the thoughts behind what it is, what are the primary goals of the Community Kickstarter Initiative, because there are some really important goals which are incredibly far-reaching, and we haven't really even scratched the surface yet. And everybody that's here today has an opportunity to play a part in that. We're going to go through how it works, i.e. the mechanics of it. That's what we do. What we do day in, day out, and then who actually is eligible to participate. And I kid you not, all of you are able to participate. And then imagine that, basically imagine what could happen if we delivered this. If we actually made this happen, what would be the result? What kind of country would we live in? So I'm just going to give you some seeds for germination, as it were. So the thoughts behind it. Okay, so as I said before, 3 years of learning experience and a lot of blind alleys. So we're thinking we're community building. But what is the result of all of our community building? What have we actually delivered? We have lots of events. Emma's been talking about the events there, and they're great fun. But community building means making a difference in the community. So we had a deep look at what we'd actually achieved. We shared what we were doing already in book number 1. I don't know if any of you read the book. This isn't a plug for the book, by the way, but here is the book. And that describes in great detail, really, the purpose of Link4Growth, why it was set up, what's its main objectives, what could happen if we did what we'd set out to do. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't tell you how to do it. So if somebody in, I don't know, Barnstable or somewhere, no one from Barnstable here today, I think, is there? Someone from Barnstable actually said, well, I quite like the idea of this. How can we do that here? How can we get started? We haven't really got anything to give to them, which was a blueprint for building community. So we need to think about that too. And the second book is on its way. It's not written yet, but it's imminent. And we need to give people a faster start. We need to get people some success about community building. So things happen in the community they can be proud of. We need to get more people involved faster, because actually we weren't reaching all of the community. And we needed to do that faster and get more people involved. And as I said already, so we wanted to give people some real tangible results locally. So people say, Link4Growth, that's doing something really powerful. So we put quite a bit of thought behind it. And, oops. So what are the primary goals? What were the objectives? What are we trying to do with this? Right, so I've already said faster starts. We needed to get up and running really quickly. And, you know, I'm not making any bones about it. We've made some mistakes. We've started things and they've not succeeded. Yeah, for one reason or another, there's no blame here. It's just some things didn't go the way they were planned. We want to get thousands and thousands of people in each town involved in this, because it's good for everyone. We're looking to help the community expand and for people to know each other locally. I often say to business people, if everybody in the community knew who you were and what you did within a 5-mile radius, how far would you have to travel to go to work? And the point is, you don't have to go anywhere. You could just walk or cycle, which is great for sustainability, by the way, as well. So that would be great. We want deeper and broader connections. Emma was talking about this. You know, if we can get people, you know, a much deeper understanding of their community, they're going to look after it. It's going to raise the profile of the people in the community who are doing great work. I know that every single one of you, where you come from, will know people who are doing some amazing things in the community. Neil's just slipped out, actually, but he does some amazing, Neil Emery, who runs a bookshop in Watford, does some amazing work in the community. But if no one knows who he is and no one shares what he's doing, how's everybody else going to join in? We need other people to be able to join in and engage. And we want to create a place where this information that we're picking up from the community, a place for it to reside, so that anybody in the community can find it easily. That would be really powerful. And yeah, by doing all of this, what people do is they start to respect their community. We had it was run by Diane, who was just sneaking away there with a camera, a photographic competition using this concept, and we had lots of people taking pictures of the town and posting them up on the website. And what happened is people started to notice the place they lived for the first time. Actually, some amazing buildings in Watford. All I see though is the shop front, but above there's some great architecture. There's also some pretty awful architecture, but actually people started to notice the town. What that meant was people started to say, actually, I live in quite a nice place, don't I? Instead of moaning about the horrors. I mean, 5 or 6 years ago, if you asked someone about, if they asked you where you lived, you said Watford, someone has to, don't they? But actually, now people are starting to be quite proud of where they live. And that makes a massive difference to your community of people that like that. And if we could do that nationally, if you were going to, somewhere like Peterborough, and you could find out what was happening in Peterborough easily, not just from some tourist site, but what by the people of the town reporting what was going on in the town, and before you went there, you could talk to some of them. How amazing would that be? And that's within our grasp. We have that capability now. We just need to participate and take action. So how does it work? Well, this is the mechanics of how we would start in a new town, if you like. We start with a core team of between 8 and 10 people who want to make a difference. And we developed a list of key people in the town that would know a fairly large number of people, because we're looking to get good representation from around the community. We invite those people to a first meeting, and we want between 40 and 60 people at that first meeting. And what we're going to ask that 40 to 60 people to do is write down or make a note of anybody that's in their sphere of influence that's doing great work in the local community. We want their names. It's not to broadcast or anything, this is just to start to develop things. We want to get to know who they are and what they're doing. And then what we're going to do is we're going to build their profile on this platform, which is a platform very simple. It's like Facebook, it's Google's platform. And we're going to start to build the profile of those people on that platform. And then, of course, once we've built that profile, we're going to teach them how they can then share their information going forward. And suddenly, they're now participating. And anybody looking is going to see their information. And once it catches on, people say, well, why can't I do that? And the answer is we can. You just got to learn how. And actually, if you can post on Facebook, you can post on this. It's absolutely no difference. So that's how we do it. And what I've done here is, you probably can't read that, but I didn't know that when I drew it. But I'll go through them. I do have a bit of time. So businesses, community and charity, people involved in sustainability, people involved in education, people involved in health, people involved in communications like papers, TV, radio, local magazines, council and local authorities. We're not leaving anyone out. All right, we're not. This is everybody can join in, even the council, local authorities, entertainment, sport and leisure, and religious and faith groups. Right. So they're the 9 sectors that represent our community. And what we want to get this really off and running is we want to get 6 to 8 people who are representative of each of those sections. So 6 9s, 54. So didn't know it was in the maths quiz, did you? 54. So if we can get more, that's brilliant. But we get those people in the room, we tell them what we're doing. And who, if they're running a local organisation or participating community, wouldn't want their information to be more visible? Tell me one organisation that wouldn't, well, there might be 1 or 2, but there might be the dodgy, but there's every single organisation I speak to says the problem that we've got is we find it very hard to get our message out there. Here we can help, but they've got to do a little bit of work. But it's not about one group of people doing everything. This is about everybody participating and doing a little bit each. And we'll share what we call that later on. But if we all did a little bit, rather than relying on a few gifted individuals, we can make a massive difference very, very quickly. So let's imagine building a town team in your town. Getting some people together from your town. That anyone, literally anyone and everyone can be part of. Where we can, for the first time, recognise people in the community that are doing great things. We had a meeting, a transition town meeting at the Reason Coffee Shop, and there was a guy there who was very involved in sort of youth work, and also is involved in allotments, and he's involved in a park, Oxley Park near Watford. And he's doing some amazing things. He's getting teenagers together, and they're building paths, and these are teenagers that are unemployed, maybe a bit troublesome. He's taking them and he's giving them a project which is great for the community. He's dredging the river. You know, people told me we can't do that. We should do it anyway. Because the job needs doing, doesn't it? You know, like it's no point in who are these people say you can't do stuff like that? And then he's very involved on the allotments, bringing allotment groups together, setting up food hubs. But nobody knows. Nobody knows what he's doing. So what this is about getting people like him out there and sharing this great work, because he's got some skills there that other people might need, but they don't even know who he is, let alone copy what he's doing. If we can just get that happening, that'd be great. So what we're creating here is a central filing cabinet for everything good that's going on in the community. And if we did that in every town, and we enabled everybody to contribute, which they can, and if we were to do this right across the country, can you just imagine how much of a difference that would make? And it isn't that hard. It's very, very easy. We just all have to do a little bit each. So that's it. I'm just about out of time. But, thank you for listening. And that's the Community Kickstarter Initiative. Thank you.
For a new boy, he's learned very quickly. Right, we have the next section of our 7. Another comparatively new innovation, which has now started and is actively working, and that is Link4Business. I won't steal anybody's thunder and say why it was created, etc. I'm sure Sue will do that. But the next section is 15 minutes on Link4Business. Well, hopefully Sue Ball.
I'm here.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I can see you.
Thank you. Hi everybody, good to see everybody here today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sue Ball, and I'm here to talk a little bit about Link4Business. If I can find which button you press on the magic slide. There we go. So, Link4Business, I don't know how many of you guys have heard of it. Is there many here who know about it? Excellent, good stuff. So you all know, and I can go and sit down, yeah? First of all, thank you, Emma, for giving me my script that I've just worked out, which is really about how all of this is a journey. It's about peer support, and it's about positivity. So I thought to help explain to you guys a bit about what Link4Business is about, I tell you how I got here to be standing here right now. I'm an independent social worker with children and families, and that means I help people find solutions to people problems. And part of how I do that is through mindfulness teaching. So while you're here and you're soaking up the energy of the room and your mind wanders off a little bit, bring it back and focus on what we're doing. And that's mindfulness. I've run my business for about 6 years, but middle of last year, I decided that I needed to make some changes. And I found out that there's some very clever people who had been building something just waiting for me to turn up and to help me. And that was called Link4Growth. And I found that in August. And they had organised for me to have the first Link4Business event to be run that month as well in Oundle. So it was all beautifully timed. And that journey is really what Link4Business is all about for me. It is about people coming together, and instead of trying to run your business in its own little way, trying to deal with your problems in your own little way, it's about helping you get unstuck, get some peer support, have people go with you on your journey, and get your name out there, as Chris was talking about. So is it just another networking group? It's not, because it's got the whole of the infrastructure and the whole of the values of Link4Growth behind it. So there's so many facets that we can bring into this. So it's evolved business networking is what we're calling it. We have the networking events, business networking events, but also all of the Link4Growth events, coming to stuff like this doing whatever you need to do to get involved wherever you want to get involved with. And that's a really key thing for me about it. We have a members page on the Link for Business website. So everybody gets their pretty pictures up there with some details about their company. And as we build it, we'll divide that into local regions that will match kind of what's going on with Link4Growth. So really get a really good business directory going. And there's online networking, which is falling off the online, which is about connecting with all the sorts of stuff with Link for Business and Link4Growth throughout the network. So many of you will know there's stuff on Facebook, there's a Link for Business LinkedIn page, there's stuff on Google+, there is TV stuff on Google+, and there is Twitter, and all sorts of stuff like that, okay? So that's a whole other side to the network. And alongside that, education and development through the Link for Skills platform. Lots of training stuff on there, including social media, something people have been helping me with, and Link4Growth TV, so you can help put your own TV formats up there. The business TV channel has got some good stuff on it about marketing, and it's a great way we want to develop that. People who've got specific skills, we were talking this week to a group of people, what stuff you might want to know about in your business and how you kind of build that up. And also falling off the page is the online mentoring group, which is a way for people to get together. As someone said to me on Wednesday, when they were starting out in business, they wish somebody had told them X, Y, and Z. And if you've got a particular business challenge, you can put it out there to a small group of people, have them answer that, have them get things that you might not have thought of, and we can then put that out there for other people to learn from as well. So people say to me, what happens at our events? And I think it's kind of, as Emma was saying earlier, very kind of informal stuff, but very positive networking. Everyone's welcome. It's kind of structured and informal. You get to introduce yourself if you want to. You can pass if you want to. We have a couple of speaker slots for some inspiration and education and sharing of ideas. And if you're a member of Link for Business, you can hold your own slot. And we have a Make a Connection slot, which is the opportunity to kind of talk one-to-one with another attendee. And I've had some fabulous conversations. We've kind of sat down together and we've both looked and thought, what are we going to talk about? And it's amazing. You don't have to get stopped from talking, because anybody who's in business will know your businesses can be wildly different, but pretty much you get the same stuff going on. And it's amazing what you can learn through those. I have never left an event not feeling more motivated than when I started, and that's the honest truth. Even at times when I've again started feeling stuck, and what am I doing, and why am I playing with this, and I'm playing at this business, and all of that stuff, and people are always there to support you and for you to support them. I thought I would just list some of the events coming up. We've got 4 areas going at the moment: Ruislip, Hitchin, Marylebone and Oundle. All of these can be found on Eventbrite if you search for Link for Business. All of them have got dates planned in January and February. And of course, what we're looking for is developing that in other areas. People are saying to me, is there something near me? Can we do something near me? Yeah, we can give people all the support that you want to set up another group near you. And the more that we have of these, the better everyone benefits, because we can all go to each other's groups, get a bit of a different feel, people bring different feelings and skills to different groups. So have a think about that. And I wanted to bring it back really to the positivity, because that's what we're about today, is thinking about what we can achieve. bringing our local businesses together as part of that community kickstart that Chris was talking about. And we've got a hashtag Link4Growth Buy Local banner kind of headline that we can all promote, with that wonderful thing that if we're in the local community, money stays in the local community, we help build a stronger community. We can work together to raise the profile of all our brilliant local businesses. There's room for everybody, as Emma said, and it's about we can all promote each other. And we can build social value through Link4Growth and Community Kickstart. Finding a way to contribute to local community and charity organisations. Chris is right. I know at least 2 people that very few other people know about who would really welcome some help and who would love it if local businesses could support them, bring a bit of organisation to what they're doing in terms of how they might be fundraising, how they might get their profiles up, all the stuff that local businesses know about, and that people who are just trying to help out could do with a bit of support in doing. Fundraising, whatever it might be, giving them a venue, much like businesses give us a venue when we go to meetings. Let me go, woo, excellent. I had no idea I could do that. Aren't I clever? So, bringing back to what both Emma and Chris have said so far, is that we know that there is much that needs doing. There's much that needs building in local businesses. In Link for Business, we have much to work on, but through those 4 groups that have been got up and got going, it's been tried and it's been tested and we're ready to roll it out, and we just need people to kind of think about how they might find their role in that. So we need to recognise that we can take action. Everybody's come here today, so every single one of you in this room knows that by taking a bit of action, we can build things better together. And just recognising that perhaps we should take that action, maybe, whatever little bit of action it is for you. And I like that. I might stay here and do that all day. So Link for Business, like Link4Growth, is a truly level playing field. And I mean truly level playing field. It really is. When you walk into a Link4Growth, Link for Business event, you know it. Small businesses do not have to work alone. And if we can believe it, up here, if we can see it, if we can picture it in our minds, then we can create it. And we can create it in our own lives, in our own businesses, and in our communities. And that's a kind of walk through a bit of social work tied into a bit of business, tied into hopefully a better understanding of what Link for Business is all about. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sue. Sue has laid down a challenge for anyone who's interested in perhaps starting a Link for Business group. I won't mention these yet, but I will when we stop for a break. Part of the Link for Business, of course, is the online mentoring group, which Jeremy Silverstone is going to present. Jeremy has come back into my life after many years. I met him previously at networking meetings before Link4Growth was even thought of. He hasn't changed a bit. He's dynamic. He's dynamic. Yeah, he's dynamic. And, well, he was when I saw him before anyway. And he will now tell us all about OMG. I hate that, don't you? OMG. Oh my God, but it isn't. Oh my God, it is online mentor group. So Jeremy would like to come forth and give us 15 minutes of his dynamic expertise.
Thank you, Paul. No pressure. Allegedly, yeah. Good morning. It's wonderful to be here. Wonderful to see you all. And I feel very honoured to be here. Just a very little bit of background. And I promise it is only a little bit of background. And the good news is 15 minutes you can have a coffee. So just try to not look at your watch during that time, not to look at mine, and we'll see how we go. I'm going to talk about online mentoring groups, but the journey to get here has been quite a convoluted one for me. I spent 30 years doing marketing in a corporate environment, and it was all very dull, but actually I learned a lot of stuff. And then about 8 years ago, I set up my own business and started doing some networking. And I've never heard of networking, and it all seemed very strange. But actually, it very quickly struck me that this would make a great sitcom, because it had all the elements of a sitcom, it had all those great characters. And actually, it had that community. And it felt a bit like the young version of Dad's Army. In the sense that everybody had their own catchphrases and everybody had their own personality. It still strikes me that it would be a great sitcom. The first guy that I ever met, I won't tell you his name, but he was a singer. And he had great ambitions to be a world-class singer. He wanted to be Michael Jackson. And he wanted to build a studio. And everybody said, you've got to have one-to-ones with people to really get to know them. So I had a one-to-one with this guy. And he told me that actually that singing was only a stepping stone for him, and what he really wanted to do was build a ship that would spread peace around the world. And it was, yeah, he was a complete lunatic. I thought, that's an interesting idea. How big is this ship going to be? And he said, well, you know an aircraft carrier? And I said, yes, and I'm already starting to look for the hidden cameras. He said, well, about 7 times as big as that. And I said, how are you going to fund all this? He said, well, obviously I've got to get Richard Branson on board and I've got to get Bill Gates on board. And I said, well, what's the ship going to do? And he said, well, it's going to go to places like Congo and you know, take food there and stuff. And I said, you do know that Congo is actually landlocked, especially not like 7 times the size of an aircraft. Why am I telling you this? That was my introduction to networking. So when about 5 years later I met Chris Ogle, and he said, I've got this dream to build communities. I was naturally a little bit suspicious, but it didn't take me very long to realise how authentic this was. And actually, the networking that I've done struck me as being almost a replacement for some of those communities that there used to be. In every town and village, there would be a pub where everybody would congregate, and when the fences blew down, everybody would know who it was that they needed to go to get that fence put back up again. And actually, the business networking community that provided me with a lot of friends and a lot of interesting insights into how people live their lives. So very quickly, I made the connection between what Chris was trying to achieve and what I thought was actually one of the more positive aspects of business networking. So I very quickly engaged with Chris, and my involvement has been kind of exponential, and I'm a bit surprised to find myself standing here at the conference, but delighted to be so. It may well be that I'm actually just here just to make everybody else look slightly younger than me. The actual purpose of this is for me to talk about OMG, and I'm hoping that this is going to work. Yep, I'm probably responsible for this cubing thing. It's just a phase of going through. So online mentoring groups, what are they? Online mentoring groups actually came out of something called boardrooms, and boardrooms was something that Chris had started in the early days. It was something that had been operating in a variety of different guises throughout the business community, and probably through the coaching community, through the mentoring community. It kind of all brings all of those things together, but it does it in a way which is unique in many respects. Please work. Okay. So what are they? How can you get a benefit from being involved? I don't know where I shouldn't point to. I just point it anywhere. Eventually it will work.
On the PC, probably.
Or on the PC, yeah. Always best. Right. So how do we share the wisdom? And really it is about sharing this wisdom. The online mentoring groups are a way of very conveniently getting people together online, as the name suggests, and mentoring each other. The purpose of the format of these meetings is very straightforward. We have a group video conference. It's all done on Google Hangouts, but it's to address real business challenges. And this all sounds as if it might be quite hard-nosed and actually quite a way away from what Link4Growth is all about. But we can't deny that for many of us who run small businesses, The reality is that the success or otherwise of our business, the stress or otherwise within our business, impacts hugely upon our daily lives, upon our relationships, upon our ability to be able to engage with the community. So what we've tried to do is create a format which gets 4 to 6, it may even be 8 participants together at a time, plus a facilitator, who may be a producer and may actually run the meeting using Google Hangouts. And the idea is that these 4 to 6 people over the course of 2 to 3 hours will help each other. And they'll help each other to address real challenges that they face in their lives. They don't actually have to be business challenges. They could be personal challenges. But the essence of this is that we create a group of people in a safe environment where people can learn from each other's experience, wisdom, knowledge, skills, and so on. It's a 6-month program. We're looking at having 6 sessions. And in each session, if there were 6 people involved, in each session, 3 people would raise an issue. So it may well be that we have 3 half-an-hour sessions looking at different issues with a break in between. But at the end of that, we set some clear action points, and there is some accountability. It's not accountability because I impose it or the facilitator imposes that. The accountability comes because people want to help other people to achieve what they've set out to achieve. So it's almost self-imposed. So what are the kind of goals that we're looking for people to achieve? These are just some of the questions that have been posed. And it's an infinite list. Or not. It's an infinite list. This is only a very small snippet of it. What should I do with this aspect of my business life? How can I generate more leads, more income? How have other people successfully approached these challenges? What would you do if you were in my shoes? That's the kind of questions that we hope to answer within these groups. So we have a couple of hours online talking to each other. Everybody takes it in turn. It's a very structured process, but it's very flexible. It allows people to express their views, express their fears, concerns, anxieties, and in a very safe environment. It allows other people to say, do you know what, I've been in that situation, or I know somebody who's been in that situation. Have you thought of doing this? Perhaps we could look at it this way. Have you thought of turning it completely on its head? And actually, it even allows for people to be brutally honest sometimes and say, do you know what, I really don't think this is right for you. I really think that you could think about this in a completely different way and you would benefit from doing it. We've run a few pilots and we're hoping to roll this out during 2016. And the feedback that we've had from the pilots has been incredibly positive. One person even said that I think it's been quite transformational for them, not quite life-changing for them. And I completely understand how it would be, because it's not often that we have that opportunity to have people focus on us. And of course, Link4Growth is all about focusing on other people and trying to give and be positive contributors to the community. But actually, we mustn't forget that we're also part of that community. And if we are able to take away some of the stresses in our lives, if we're able to solve some of the specific issues and challenges that we face, then we make ourselves much more able to give up our time and go and spread our wisdom and experience as well. So how can you get involved? How can you dive in? There are 3 principal ways in which everybody here can be involved. You can participate in a program in 2 ways. Either as a participant or as a facilitator. And we have a workshop that we're developing that will help you to be a participant in that program. We also have a workshop planned that will help you to understand what makes a good facilitator. And if you're a relatively organised person and you understand the technology, and that's part of the workshop, and you want to help people, you genuinely want to help people, then you're probably a very good person to be a facilitator in this program. The third way you can get involved is recognising that there's a real benefit in this and recommending other people to get involved in any of those first 2 ways. So who do you know who would be a good facilitator? Who do you know who would benefit from having somebody else focus on their business? Who do you know who could contribute in some way to helping other people solve their problems. Those are the kind of people that we want to try to recruit onto the programme. And there are lots of rewards, however you decide to get involved. For participants, just sharing your expertise, your experience is something from a philanthropic point of view is incredibly powerful. I think we all know that, otherwise we wouldn't be involved in Link4Growth. But what we're doing is creating fast-track solutions in a very safe environment, and that makes it doubly attractive, I think, in terms of participation. We also gain huge insights just from being involved in other people's lives, understanding what it is that motivates them, understanding what it is that keeps them awake at night, the challenges and anxieties that they face. And of course, it's a great opportunity to raise your profile, develop your own connections, grow within the collective development of the group. And I think that that's, for me, the last one is actually the most powerful of all of those. It's actually that everybody learns together, and the totality is much, much greater than the sum of the parts. And if you're a facilitator, you benefit from all those things and some more. You do raise your profile, your credibility, you expand your contact base, you help participants to achieve their goals, understand their challenges, learn from the knowledge and experience of those taking part. And yes, there are some financial benefits too for looking after that group, and actually of the fee that's being charged. And it's a very modest fee by any commercial standards. The bulk of that fee goes to the facilitator. So there is a real income stream potential there. I'm not going to go into too much of the kind of the nuts and bolts of it here. We've only got a few minutes left, so I'm going to finish off by just saying OMG is different. It's entirely online. It makes it convenient and cost effective. It's supported by this marvellous organisation, L4G, with the workshops and facilitation, how to use Hangouts and so on. We follow it up. There is accountability. It creates a positive energy. We started off this morning's session with Emma, and she is obviously the personification of positive energy, but she talked about and showed how much fun it should be. And actually that's one of the things that's come through all the pilots, that everybody has felt that as much as there are serious issues being addressed, it is actually about having some fun. It's about connecting with people in a really human way, even though we're being enabled by the technology, and having that human connection inevitably, however serious a situation is, however daunting a challenge might seem, putting a smile onto people's faces somehow always seems to make it a little easier. That it's it for me. I hope that's been useful as an introduction to OMG. I'm Jeremy Silverstone. The Fat Lady has some. Thank you very much.
I did warn you he was rubbish. Right, we're having a 15-minute break. So if you'd like to stretch your legs and be back here in 15 minutes for the next session. Thank you. That's funny. Introduction.
You guys obviously were so good. I'm so good.
Thank you. So far, so good, is it?
Jamie, I also introduced you. I'm looking to launch an OMG Youth next month.
Okay. Great. Okay. Yeah, definitely.
Because I used to do the offline ones like Christmas time. No, I think it's time to
Yeah, good stuff this is. Yeah. Where have you been in my life, Chairman? We did meet years ago, didn't we? First
You were involved in something very different, I remember at that time.
yeah, I was indeed. I wasn't doing management tourism.
It was selling something to do with the West Indies.
Yeah, it was investments. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Whatever became of that?
well, it's still going.
Yeah.
The company itself, Harlequin, has gone through all kinds of trials. Nobody's actually lost any money, which is good, and they are developing again. They are actually, they lost a fortune. They didn't lose a fortune. They had a fortune taken from them by
Yes.
the guy who was developing the site. It was like 30 million quid. They had about a 2 or 3 year court in Ireland, which they eventually won. But of course, whilst you're doing battle with people, it's around building confidence. So I lost confidence because although no one has lost as far as I'm aware, I was not happy to be involved with something that wasn't just going to do what it said. And they didn't do anything wrong. This was the sad part about it. I don't think the company ever did anything wrong, but it was circumstances. I used to sell it on the basis that the only way this would go wrong is if the world goes into recession. And what happened? The world went into recession. And that was the truth of it.
Hello. I'm one of the speakers later. I just wanted to have a quick flip through.
Feel free.
Depends on the lifetime. Yeah, I mean, probably a baby. Yeah, that's fine.
This is the green.
Oh, I think it's there.
Yes.
Yes, of course. Can we just ask a question?
So, you can also, you can also use it for Let me have a look. I will have a look around. So, no, but what I'm saying is the morning obviously must work. It's a work day.
I am.
You all right?
Yeah, well, I need to get into this laptop for the moment. I thought it was going to come out that.
It is.
Can I exit this then for the moment, Chris?
Sorry?
Can I exit this then? For the moment?
Yeah, because I'm going to switch this now.
Before you do, I just want to make sure.
How you might fit
Yes, please. Sorry, I'm just trying to do that. This camera.
You've got a lot of knowledge going on, isn't it? And you know a lot of people, and you remember how things work, and all that kind of stuff. So, cool, excellent.
Fantastic. Brilliant. The community Kickstarter. Yeah, brilliant, fantastic. We've got these sort of tables. Yeah. Much bigger picture, yeah. That's why we put it on. Basically, just like an
Because I've got the Thursday afternoon, I'm taking some ladies to see Thursday afternoon.
Seems to be going okay so far.
That'd be great.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going to photograph Harold.
I'm going to have a little experiment.
So many people said it's been great so far.
Yeah, Mark.
I doubt that.
Chris. Sorry. Sorry, I just need the other screen.
You want the other screen now?
Just for a moment.
I mean, it's efficient, so
Oh, yes.
so far everybody else is everybody else is at the same rate, or even understands what's in it. Without better for Friday. Yesterday I felt
So yeah, so the only one
apart from Lempton,
Long gone, Mark and Deanne gave it up to, I think they kind of sold out to 24/7. Which was Mick Holloway's meeting. Yeah, she's still good. I still see Deanne around. She's still really focusing on the research business they've got.
all these things have a time, don't they? Something run out of steam, do
So full time, what are you doing the rest of your
well, my major job is in partnership with clients, I work part-time 6 hours a month partnerships are trying schools. That's the main thing I do those things. For this, no, I don't do enough for it, which is why I'm on one of the I don't do as much as some of my colleagues because I just got so many fitness. The only the coaching thing is the main that comes up every day.
part of business growth service? Accelerator?
No, not part of anything actually, just a couple of blokes that have been doing that for all the things I've done through my working life, it's always been coaching. It always has.
We all have our each
the coaching side as well as the actual financial services product. And Clive was always managing his working life, and he too was a good coach within the company and to clients.
That's it. We're doing it over in the other
He's working with his clients. Got so many things
Actually, in the file, but it's
so many contacts.
I'll be the one slowing in the corner.
I run through on working groups. I work with 7 charities, run a league.
I'm guilty.
That's incredible, isn't it? How many of us have got so many strands to our lives?
Actually, I love that variety.
And you've got the great you've got so much to do. When I was in
it's not that big a rock.
Well, it's all been raised to the ground, and what I was doing was like, I might just cut all that ground.
And they just pick Who's doing the sauce?
And there's a big thing about mental health for children, and they say they're revising plans, and I'm just like, you're putting that ain't no way you want to
Ring 0.
It would be useful to have that door open.
Since the powers of Fold Academy, I'm doing within the context of various other networks on a monthly basis where a member will raise an issue. Everybody around the table will contribute. You've got to have a study to it. Yeah, I agree. Getting the most out of it relies on that.
Is that your water in there? Or am I collecting water? Don't give me this in the people.
I meant to say, before I finished, it kind of grabbed me
But don't get, because I think there's 15 there, so there's new people, Nicky had one, we might run out.
Yeah, I grabbed it, so I won't forget.
Yeah, you can leave us down.
Yeah, so we need to look at it. I need to go and get coffee on this.
The truth, I don't listen. I'll forget to read it myself.
So we're trying to keep it
Yeah, well, yes, I like you, I like how you speak. Because I have to, irrationally.
Yeah, I did. She's sitting there.
And usually I them to have bigger groups of listening. I'm taking And they always try to cards. teach People them want to be. notes.
Well, we've got to get people in, we've got to get people back in here now.
Well, I think it goes back to the first time I did the presentation in the dark room with a spotlight on 2,500 people. And my niece doing that under the light.
Yeah, I'm just going to turn this around. Right?
Again, China ones go.
You're on next, aren't you? Can't you? But after that,
Is that where you hang?
then it's mine. So. Can you do?
And then I travelled all over the place, and then I came back. Forgetting that. That's 5 times a year. Spiritual. So that's what I was saying last time.
Yeah, they are going to be in the team towards you already. Yeah, in the presentations area. I should create a folder for you, so you can write them. And the laminates and everything, all in there. There's no need to hold them in secrecy.
No. But aside from this, it's kind of last year I was just I did that. It was great, but I really appreciate it so much. Although I was working I knew I needed to get back into a more mainstream kind of thing because I used to have what about you?
I was another kind of education charities, small staff. Yeah, so the real experience. Do what you can do a little bit. How are you? All right.
Will you please take your seats now? We're ready to start. And I've got the microphone here.
Session 2 is about to get underway. When you bring the seats in. Everybody take their 60 days, please. How does one get ladies to stop talking? Clearly, one doesn't. Then we can watch all the people who are coming in late. I have a question. Has everybody brought their passport? Oh dear, because the next session we are going international. Yeah. We will be linking with Carol Dodsley. Carol will be speaking about our education platform, specifically Link for Skills. And Carol just happens to live in Bulgaria. So hopefully, reliant upon technology and people who understand it better than I, we will soon be linking with Carol, who will take the next 15 minutes from overseas. Let's hope it works.
Okay, so let's just try this technology. Hang on a second. Hello, Carol, can you hear us?
I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Not really.
There's an echo.
Let's just hang on a sec. Yeah, that might be an idea. Yeah, hang on a sec. Can you talk, Carol?
What would you like me to say? Can you hear me? I'm talking.
Yep. Okay, try again.
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Is that working? We'll do it that way then. Right. Okay, so welcome to the conference, Carol, all the way from overseas. So what I've done is I prepared a few questions because I thought actually it might work better if rather than.
Can I just butt in before you start?
I guess so. Can I stop you?
Before we start, because I'm going to be talking about education, and because I've been watching this morning from over here in Bulgaria, so I've been watching the live feed, can all the speakers who are going to speak in the future today, please make sure you're in front of the camera, because I've been watching a blank screen half the time. So that's my educational advice.
That saved me a job later, thank you. Right, so let's start off. So I prepared a few questions, which I think the people here might be interested to hear the answers of. Where are you actually talking to us from right now?
Bulgaria, sunny, cold, icy, snowy Bulgaria.
Well, and yesterday you had a coat on, so has it warmed up or are you freezing?
Today we've got beautiful sunshine. I've had to shut my curtains because otherwise you wouldn't have seen me. So we've still got over a foot of snow with a layer of ice across it, but the sun is absolutely blazing. So I'm nice and warm today.
Fantastic. Can you tell everyone here how you got involved in Link4Growth, just a Link for Skills, but just give us a bit of the background, not too long or extensive.
Well, really, completely by accident. I'm actually a Google Plus top contributor and all about Hangouts, and I was very prolific on Google Plus. And you saw me and started to talk to me, and then you said, can we talk? And I thought, I have no idea who this guy is, and I have no idea what he wants to talk about, but okay, I'll talk. And then we got talking, and at first you were talking about Link4Growth and how that works, and that there wasn't a community in my area, and I immediately said, and there won't be with me in it, because that's not my thing. But if you need anybody with anything to do with education and training or technology, let's talk more. And that sort of moved us into the Link4Skills arena.
So it's been, I guess, 18 months or so. Tell us a little bit more about the different functions that Link4Skills consists of.
You know, that one is a difficult one, because you say it's so much better than me. I always get my tongue tied with things like that. I mean, really, we call it Link4Skills, and the tagline is the People's University. And that's for a reason, because it's not all about us teaching people what we think they need to learn, which a lot of educational institutions, that's what they do. It's about us recognizing the skills gaps and trying to fill those for people by offering education, but also about looking around the community at people that have knowledge, because everybody has so much knowledge in here about everything, and everybody out there needs that knowledge or wants that knowledge. So it's a way that we can actually find people with knowledge that want to share it, and it's a way that we can share with other people who want to learn. So it's got multiple strands. And I keep moving my hands, and they're flashing on your screen.
Jazz hands, yeah. So how's the training? how's the training actually delivered?
Well, originally it was delivered using private Hangouts, so it was small group virtual training. And then we were looking and thinking about, hang on, we need to get this out to a bigger audience. How can we do that? So now we have online training that is done similar to the way I'm talking to you today. People can actually sit and watch the training. It's tutor-led, it's live. They can ask questions, all online. So it means they can be anywhere in the world. And we also record those sessions. So if somebody wants to come to a workshop but can't make the day, or they get called away, it doesn't matter, because they can watch the live recording as well. Then we have the private workshops, which was how we originally started, so small group workshops for more confidential learning, where people actually get together inside the video conference, that can be recorded if people want them to be, or not recorded. And we now have the new strand, which is offline, because one of the things we recognized is that, excuse me, we have to remember that everybody learns in a different way. Some people like to be online, some people like to be in a classroom together, and they're quite happy online. Other people want that person-to-person, the face-to-face. So we now are starting to roll out offline as well as online.
Okay, and how does that work? How does that integrate with the Link4Growth kind of infrastructure? What's the mechanics of it, the offline stuff?
With the offline, we're actually starting to recruit education leads. We have one at the moment, Deborah, and I don't know how to pronounce the surname. Okabe, is it? Hopefully I've said that right.
Deborah Wave? Where are you? Oh, there she is, over there. Look.
There she is, good. And we'll be looking for others. Anybody who wants to step up and become an education lead can, by talking to their district leader to begin with. And it's all about them out there on the ground, finding out what training is wanted, finding people who want to train, because obviously we need trainers, and liaising with us so that we put everything together. Everything still runs through the Link4Skills infrastructure online, so that people can find what's going on offline, but it means that there can be more local offline training as well as the big national online training that we offer.
Fabulous. And what have we got to look forward to in 2016? What's because we've been spending, a bit like Link4Growth really, some time getting the infrastructure in place for Link4Skills. So what's coming? What can we expect?
Okay, well, we now have the website, which it started off very small, and we've been really developing that out. So anybody can come and find us at link4skills.com. They can find the on and the offline. We're hoping in 2016 to have more education leads, more trainers, deliver more training, and also something for those people that already know about the training and have looked at Link4Skills. Initially, it was very much social media based to help people who wanted to get involved with Link4Growth to actually be able to engage and connect online. But we're now starting to roll out different topics because it isn't about just business or just social media. In fact, in I think it's 11 days, there's going to be a vision board workshop, which is a completely different topic. And we're looking for people that can bring all sorts of different topics to it, because Link4Growth isn't just about business. Therefore, Link4Skills training should not be just about for business. So we want to grow and expand the portfolio as well.
So anybody out there that's got knowledge about a particular subject that they might want to share with the Link4Growth audience and beyond, what we're looking to do is put together a fairly extensive portfolio of training, but the difference being that we, the people, are providing those training courses, not a company developing them as an individual organisation. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There'll be some courses where trainers, we will actually have got the course there ready for them to pick up, like some of our core social media courses, that we make sure they're all consistent so people know that doesn't matter how they engage with the learning, they will get the same outcome and the same knowledge. But there's also people who will have their own courses, or people who have never trained but want to train, and we can actually help them to actually create their own course on a specific topic that they really want to be able to share with people. So it's also not about, people don't have to be a qualified trainer right now. They don't have to have done online training already, because we have workshops where we can teach them those skills, and we can also help them learn how to become a trainer and how to put together their courses if they've got the knowledge they want to share.
Fabulous. And I know that we're looking to build that portfolio. So anybody here that fancies doing a workshop and training other people, then this platform is basically there. And it's kind of almost like, I think the worst thing, who's developed workshops here themselves before? Okay, the big problem is getting a fantastic group of people here that could take advantage of this, but the problem is getting people on those workshops. So developing them is easy, but getting people on there. But here we have a ready-made audience within Link4Growth that can take advantage of that. So anything else that you'd like to tell us, Carol? I've left a space here for you to just say what you want to say. If there's anything that you think people might want to know.
Something else. What I would really like everybody in Link4Growth and people outside of Link4Growth is to let us know, what would you love to learn? You know, what things would interest you? Because when we get a trainer that comes, it's useful if we know, do people want this? Because we don't want to be wasting people's time and putting a whole load of stuff on that absolutely nobody wants. We want it to match what people want and need. So I would love it if people could actually tell us, maybe today at the conference, people could actually write on a piece of paper somewhere and give it to you, Chris, or to somebody, this is what I would love to learn, whether it's personal, whether it's business, whether it's social media. It really doesn't matter what the topic is. It could be anything, because we know that we can tap into people that are going to have that knowledge to share, but we need to know, what do you want?
And a fantastic example of that was when we started talking about the What's My Story. We started talking about the TV shows, which we're going to hear about next. Emma said, oh, I've got loads of people who want to do TV shows. And suddenly we had 8 people ready for a training workshop on TV shows, because actually it was needed. So if you've got any thoughts like that and you want to lead, which is what that was about, then please do step up. You've only got to say, I'd like to do this, and hey presto, it's done. So fabulous. Okay. Any questions from the audience that you'd like to speak to somebody in Bulgaria about? We've done the weather. How are the dogs? How are the dogs?
The dogs are scratching on the door trying to get in, but I've shut them out so that they don't make too much noise.
Anything else? Anything else? Anybody else want to say something? Ask a question? No?
I just wonder, Chris, if people do want to get in touch, just worth reminding people how they do that in terms of Link4Skills, or with any of that.
Okay, so is there an email address or a contact form, Carol, that people can complete?
On the website, link4skills.com, there is a contact form. And the email address to send, if you just want to send an email without visiting the website, is workshops@link4skills.com, I think.
Okay.
I hope. If not, I'll let you know later, because we have several email addresses for all different things.
There'll see a load of these up here. If you're interested in any particular aspect of what we're talking about today, there's a sheet of paper next to each of these. Just fill that in. So it's Link4Skills. We've already thought of it. There's a place there you can write down your name.
And if anybody wants to contact me direct, I'm really easy to remember. I'm carol@caroldodsley.com. So if anybody's got any questions, or they want to give any feedback or suggestions, or if anybody wants to be a trainer, whether it's on or offline, and isn't quite sure, what do I do? How do I go about it? Feel free to email me personally as well.
Fabulous. Well, thanks ever so much for joining us, Carol. Round of applause for Carol, I think. Brilliant stuff. We'll let you get on and tend to the dogs.
Okay, thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Right, to Bulgaria and back in 20 minutes and no jet lag. Carol just mentioned the fact that she can't see anybody. So just in case there is a Hollywood producer watching, I'm going to stand in front of the camera for a moment. I'm available. I think that's enough for anybody. Right, that leads in nicely to our next session, which is being led by Diane Richardson, and that is Link4Growth TV. That's been running for a while now. We'd like to have a lot more Link4Growth TV, but I'm sure after you've heard Diana speak, you'll be queuing up to start your own little television company. Diana, it's all yours. Diane, sorry. Right, have you heard the one about... Actually, I might have to.
Yeah, tell the joke, Paul. Come on.
Yeah.
Ad-lib.
Yeah. Prove to us you've got more than one joke.
Okay, I'll tell you the one joke.
Out of time.
Out of time. Out of time.
That microphone works now.
Okay. Typical technology always fails, isn't it? I'm going to wake you all up because it's all very hot and warm in here, and I'm melting, and I've just disappeared out of Carol's view. Hi, Carol. And I just thought, yeah, if you want to find out about groovy Spanish lessons on Link4Growth TV, I'm sure there's someone here who can provide it. Eventually, we'll get through these pips, and hopefully, everyone will have woken up. Right. So, why has the technology failed me? Oh, don't worry. Don't worry. Okay. I know. Oh, I think I've saved us all there from a difficult situation. So why L4G.TV? Well, basically, it's a web-based system that's based on YouTube, which means that everyone can get really easy access to it. Today, you often hear about and read that people say, you know, the future of the web is video, the future of marketing is the video, the future of this is video, the future of medicine is video, the future of that is medicine, or rather the video that goes with the medicine, or whatever. And of course, what happens is everyone is now buying in to making videos. You can do it now on your little handset. You don't have to be a professional like Mark. You can just do it on your mobile phone or anything like that. So lots of people are making lots of local videos. They're making it about subjects that they know about, subjects they're interested about, expressing a particular viewpoint. There's lots of people who are looking for this type of information because it can, as we talked about earlier, we need to talk about the community and build community, and just like we do with networking, we need a person to mend a fence, we know who to go to quote Jeremy, because we network. And you often now find that things like yellow pages have got completely died a death because everyone is Googling on YouTube or in Google itself, or they're asking friends, or they're asking friends of friends, or they put it out on Streetwise or something like that. So why are we going to why are we going to do this? What's so important about video? Why is it that it's necessary? And what are the aims to make people get in connection? Now, how we're going to get people to find you is we're developing a portal through Nish over there, sitting in the back row. And this portal will have a whole load of different headings. It could be easy access headings. All you have to do is type a search in the top of the search bar, and that portal will bring and generate all the local information that you need. We clearly might say, so why is the portal so powerful? As I said, it's because it will answer many of the questions that you are looking for. So if you want someone who can advise you on diet and nutrition locally, you can find it through the portal if they've put a video up there. Because the portal is not just for people who belong to Link4Growth. Anyone can put their information up there. They just need to go through the district leader to make sure it's going to work. So anyone can post. So, for example, I've been working with Fiona Flatley from North West London on a proposed National Public Health TV show. Now, public health sounds really dull, uninspiring, tedious subject. Believe me, it is fascinating, and the amount of information that Fiona has can fill an entire Encyclopedia Britannica. So, on this subject, it is absolutely fascinating, and there's so much information that people need to know out there. You could also perhaps say, as I understand from Chris, develop a national vegan raw TV channel, as I believe and Peckham was doing. You can also use it to host What's My Story? Now, each one of us here has got a story. You know, we've all said, yes, we've all come here various ways, routes, whatever. We've all got interesting backgrounds. You know, mine is I've lived abroad in 16 different countries. And I say that to people and they go, wow. But it's not unique. But there are other people out there who've got interesting or equally fascinating or more fascinating bits and stories. So it's time that they got the opportunity to tell their stuff. So that is one of the reasons why the portal is there, so people can find all these interesting stories, because this way you get to hear people's talking about it and you can learn from their experiences. So if you're thinking of, say, moving abroad, as Carol has done twice, or as I've done too many times, you need to know what some of the pitfalls are. How do you go about it? What's different between, say, living in Holland and Ukraine? What are the visa restrictions? Why are they different? How do you get around? Who do you register with? Who do you go and see? That sort of thing. All those sorts of things I could tell in my story. And everyone here has got something similar. It's also a place where you can post specialist marketing programs, like with Jonathan and Catherine and Jem. We do something called the Marketing Gem, which goes out every Wednesday afternoon, and we talk about marketing issues and how marketing tips and tricks can help SMEs develop their share of the market and grow. Now, we don't always get it 100% right, but the advice is usually very, very good and very, very solid. And most of it is, oh, I wish I knew about that. Oh, I didn't know that happened. Oh, that's how that works, and that sort of thing. And all those things, if you went and paid a full-time marketing consultant to come in and charge you for those sorts of money, well, I would charge you £500 a day, and others would charge you even more, I'm sure, because it's that type of advice that people need. And it's actually quite easy to get hold of people, quite easy to share this information, and quite easy to find out where and why things aren't working, or where and why things are working. Because sometimes things work and you don't know why. So it's really important that you do know why, so that you can repeat it next time. So eventually, we're going to have so many TV channels on YouTube, all controlled through the portal, that it's going to be a case of anyone can produce a TV show. Basically, we're looking at two levels here. One's very much at community shows, such as the Southwest Arts TV show, which goes out every Friday afternoon with, again, Catherine, Neil, myself, and a few other people, and occasionally we send Chris out. Last time, just before Christmas, I sent it to a brewery. I know, and of course there's Tanya as well, who also contributes on a regular basis. But it's also an opportunity, these local channels, to develop things such as local history channels. We all live in communities where there are vast amounts of hidden history, and there's always one or two people around who are really keen on their area and knowing all about the history of where they've lived. They want to know, why is this building here? Why is that building there? Where we meet for Watford Link for Drinks, for example, is in a building that's rather unusual shape. Till you discover it's actually built as a railway station for the underground, but the railway station got binned before they actually built the tracks. So you have a building that's long and narrow with no railway there, and you think, well, why is it this shape? You find out, as I said, it was built for the Metropolitan Line extension back in 1910 or so. Extension didn't come, so they turned it into a parking lot. What better use from this year's station? It could be that you do something about promoting a local charity. There are all charities around here that work locally. I've worked with a lot of local charities as well. They need the oxygen of publicity to raise the funds, because a lot of them are suffering now through local government cuts. So what they need to do is be much more aware of what is happening, why it's happening, and who they can speak to. And places where they can also boost their own Google site rankings. Because if they get videos on their Google site rankings, it pushes their website up, which will help increase their exposure, as long as it's done with all the other good stuff that we all know about: blogging, Facebooking, YouTubing, Twittering, Periscoping, whatever. All those things together will help raise publicity, but the video is the catalyst. Okay, or it could be that we talk about a transition town. How does a town transition to becoming much more green, much more sustainable? It could also be that we talk about specific subjects, such as beekeeping or gardening in a specific area. Because gardening in Watford is very different to gardening in somewhere up in the north of the country, because there'll be 3 or 4 degrees difference in temperature and different soils and stuff like that. So people need to know about these things. People might be interested in the local architecture. They might well be thinking about 5 or 6 people perhaps following up, if they find they all come from the same area, of making the online mentoring group into a real group. Possibility. They could do it on a local level, and then they could put those findings, their thoughts, out as a TV show. The list is literally endless. The second level are national shows. So that could be some topic specific, such as Marketing Gem or the Current Affairs show that Chris and Neil did during the summer. It could be the Link4Growth monthly update show that Chris puts out every Saturday, every first Saturday of the month. It could be a whole raft of things. So, okay, so you're saying, yes, okay, I want to get involved. So how are we going to do this? Well, Carol's already talked about Link for Skills and all the practical training that can deliver. But what you also need to understand is it's not just a technical process. You need to think about the different production methods you're going to use. You need to think about how you can generate ideas for shows. how you can, how often to broadcast. Do you do it weekly, monthly, quarterly, whatever? How do you write a running order? How do you get people involved? How do you keep control of it? To an extent whereby it comes across as being a rational, thought-out program all the way through. How do you stop getting sued? Because if you take stuff down from the internet and you're not aware of certain limitations that are there, you can get royally sued. And you know, we're talking American corporations here who like their bucks. So how can you make sure that if you take something off the internet, you won't get sued? It's a big issue if you're going to go to video. It really is. But one or two common sense ideas beforehand can stop all of that kind of thing happening. It could be news gathering. So the local Link4Growth show, for example, we have 8 different segments which kind of follow each week. We have a sports section. That's because Watford happen to be in the Premier League. We have a Watford fanatic fan who comes on and talks about Watford. Now, other people who have put the show together might have different interests, and you can tailor the show to your interests. You don't have to follow the recipe that we've done here. But there are 1 or 2 things that are quite good. Talking about what's happened to Link4Growth in the past week and what's going to happen in the next week, and then how you put everything in between that, that's entirely up to you. But this can change. As I said, you don't have to do everything all in one go. So in 2016, we hope that Link4Growth TV will become a powerful community building and promotional platform. We hope it will become the place to promote a product or a group issue or a charity or something like that. And it's not only promote it, but an easy to find resource. And that's basically all I have. Except I'm going to wake you all up now. No, we'll leave it. Okay.
So, if you want to be a local TV star, now's the opportunity. Thank you very much for that. We have one more session before lunch. When this day was being put together, it was decided that if Chris was ever going to become any kind of a decent leader, he needed a bit of practice at public speaking, etc. So we let him have another session just before lunch. This is the 7th of the 7 strands. It's about the leadership program, and as before, bear with him. He is getting better. So, Chris, all yours.
I'll put that back. I'll just do a quick overview of what's coming up. We put this leadership program together, and if you haven't gathered already, 2016, we're looking for some leaders, looking for some people to step up and take part in what we're doing. We've put together this leadership program, which is going to help us to enable people to become leaders, because actually all of us are capable of that, but very often we don't believe it in ourselves. And it's just somebody else having that belief in you for a while that, in the end, inspires you to have belief in yourself. So, what I'm going to run through is that we've got a Okay, so I'm going to run through this. We need a new set of leaders for the future. I'm going to explain why in a minute, but we do. And a leader is essentially going to build the railway line and decide where it goes, whereas the rest of the folk will be on the train following where the railway line has been built to go. But very often we ask the question, well, how can I lead? What can I lead on? What's, you know, I'm not a leader. How can I lead in my lifestyle? Where do I become a leader? How do I become a leader? And you know, where have you got the opportunity to lead? That's another big question. Is like, well, if I want to lead in something, you know, I'm just one person. How can I achieve that on my own? So it's very often we become, I'm just one person, so I'm not gonna lead because I can't. There's no way forward there. So we can sort that. And small groups of people have always led. It's not you've got to be part of a big movement, actually it's small groups. And I think in 2016, I'm going to talk about this later, 2016 is the year of the small groups collaborating to effect change. And every single person here in this room has got something they can take part in on that. And what if we did start leading, what could we do? And I've got some interesting examples of projects that aren't started yet, but could very, very well do so in 2016. And these are questions and things that people in this room have put to me. So these people have a chance of making something happen just as a result of what we're going to talk about this afternoon, this morning. So when you do set leaders, why is that then? Well, I suspect that some of these list of items I put here, you'll notice some of these attributes apply to some of the people that we call leaders today. All right. Now, I don't know about you, but this isn't the kind of person I want to follow, or good people. It's not my list by any stretch of the imagination, and you know we've got people in power, people making decisions on our behalf, who we know are not really making decisions on behalf of us; they're making decisions on behalf of themselves. And what we've got to do is reverse this. And everyone in this room today that's come today and has been involved in Link4Growth doesn't really present these attributes. They have a different set of attributes. And you could reverse all of these, not self-serving, not blaming others. Now we're all not perfect, by the way. So if you see some of those, you think, well, that might be me. Don't worry, because it's all a journey. We're all on a journey. And we might be at any stage in that journey, but as long as we've got an intent to change, that's really the key to this. So, not quite what we'd follow, really, is it? So, are we going to build a railway, or we're just going to get on the train? Right. So, what's the difference then? What do we need to do to lead? What's the leadership qualities that we're looking at here? And we'll go through them because actually quite interesting. So, somebody that decides to do something that's not currently being done and challenges the way it's been done, or challenges what is being done. And people do it all the time. Does things differently. You know, it's a bit of a maverick. They want to change the world and do something that's going to make a difference. People who create things and take action. We've got loads of people ideas. There's some amazing ideas out there. I hear them all the time. Fantastic ideas, but they never come to fruition because of no action. And a leader doesn't just create followers. A leader creates more leaders. But in order to do that, a leader has to have certain qualities to do that, like not looking out just for themselves. They have to be trying to help people and make them successful. Someone who writes the book, not reads the book. Now, I meet a lot of people, and they're avid readers. I'm not a big reader myself. I'd rather think about what I've done and my experiences and then apply those and see where that takes me, as opposed to being a bit of borrowing someone else's thoughts. So have their own thoughts. Challenges and questions everything. Good leaders do that. Why are we doing that? It's important to think that way. This is a really important one, number 7. And will only ask people to do things they're prepared to do themselves. This is a really important one. There's full of people not doing that. They don't fail at anything. They learn or they succeed. That attitude is vital. People inspire other people to do things. Make sure that their inspiration. That's really vital. And it spends their time helping other people succeed, because there's an old saying, help others succeed, you get what you want to. So really important, all of those things. So what do I lead on? Right, and this comes back to Link4Growth now. So what do I lead on? What can I do that makes a difference? How can I do that? I'm on my own. How can I lead? Well, actually, as part of Link4Growth, there's a framework that exists within Link4Growth. And we're learning about that today, that framework. That framework is vital, because inside that framework is the opportunity to do whatever you choose through the Link4Growth platform. And Link4Growth's not here to make money off you doing that. It's here to help you succeed in doing that. And that's the difference. So within Link4Growth, there are so many different facets, we've already heard, so many different parts of Link4Growth. You can find something that's going to attract you. Remember those 9 segments, there's something in there for everyone. You can find something that you're passionate about. And you're going to learn a little bit later on about the 7 principles, ethics, and values of Link4Growth. And they absolutely fundamental and underpin what we do. And I'll be sharing those with you this afternoon. But as long as they're being adhered to, and they're really important those, you've got to take on some responsibility though. Right? We can't blame anybody. We've got to take on the responsibility. We've got to actually take on the responsibility ourselves. Really important. But Link4Growth offers you the chance to practice leading. We really interesting that actually doing Link4Growth, if you're doing something which is not your business, actually you get your business. If you're in business like this, because actually people start to see you as a giver on something that's not fundamental to your business, but because you're doing that, they have a really good opinion of you, because you're contributing to society. You're doing, and actually people like that. So we give people a chance to practice leading in a whole raft of different ways. And that enables you to be the best you. We're not comparing with anybody else. The only person who can be better than was you yesterday. And this is a really important attribute to leaders, because they're not comparing themselves, they're being themselves. And forget the statement, I'm not a leader, because we're all capable of leading. We just need a bit of encouragement. So, where can I lead? Okay, so I've got a few topics up here. Big changes always begin with small groups. It's never been any different. People say, oh, I'm just a small group of people, but small groups make big changes, that's it. So we've got a few coffee shop owners here today. Right? And actually, local independent coffee shops working together to help each other and support each other isn't a bad idea, is it? Actually, Neil's very good at that. Neil, your hand up. Coffee shop owner. Linda over there. Amazing lady made the cake out there. She'll get more recognition later when you tried it. I'm sure. But if they got together and worked together and helped each other and promoted each other, they would do better against cost of coffee and Starbucks and that if they got together and helped each other.
Can't help it.
Self-help movement. Who's in the self-help industry here? Okay. You've got 3 hands up, or you sleep. I have lost count of the people that I've referred to other people who are in the health, wellness and self-help industry to people I know. What if those people worked together? What if they created a layer of the health service outside the health service by getting together and providing some amazing... What about that? We can do that, can't we? We've got people who's been into psychiatry and that kind of thing. We've got a few around here. I know. I heard from, I think it was Sue, yes, said that Manchester were shutting down what department was it?
Manchester have ceased all of their community and preventative mental health services, and that will be following throughout the country, and you can expect child and adolescent mental health to follow. Okay,
so if we've got people who know that, are fed up with working in a sector that's not supporting them and are being made redundant, why don't they get together and create a layer? Why not get together and create a psychiatric layer? What an amazing idea. And it's going to happen, by the way, because they've already got it in their mind. Absolutely. Education. You know, we all know that the stuff that teaches people how to use the most important muscle they've got, their brain, isn't being taught in schools. Why not? So there's a real opportunity there. And large-scale wormeries. We've got a lady down here with a wormery. Right? And she said to me one day, well, this needs to be done on a commercial scale. I said, I agree with you. So why don't we get other people who are interested in worms? Because I know what, somebody who's into sustainability and has got money would invest money in a project like that. But we've got to publicise it, get it on the TV, get it on the TV show, get it out there, get the information out there so people can come and be attracted to what we're doing. That's really important. So these are things we can lead on, and I bet you there's a gazillion other ideas out there, but just a few of them I thought I'd share with you. So what if we said we could, or we can, but we can't? And what if we collaborated? We had the technology already. What if we shared what we were doing and attracted those like-minded people to the projects? And if we discussed it in public on the TV platform and we took massive action, it would definitely lead to a difference. And this is what I'm asking you to do for 2016. Think about it, because actually there's a huge opportunity out there to make a difference in this country. All we need to do is step up and get on with it. The answer's always within. So our leadership program that we run, which is 6 weeks, every other week, it's basically 6 sessions every other week. It's not going to teach you how to be a leader. It is going to teach you about the platform in which you can lead. And then we're going to help you to lead. So that's it. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Chris. That concludes the morning session. We now have the opportunity to have some food. Worm-free, I do believe. If we could try and get back for the afternoon session at 1:05, we will have caught up 10 minutes of our 15.
Can I just ask people who currently are linked for business subscribers to come and see me at some point during the day, and I promise I won't have them.
What's the point? Thank you.
Excellent. The cake. That's all the trade. And then an email back from what's like that, the trade, so you know, make the cake today. So brilliant.
Well, absolutely. Actually, I'm looking for a part of the right. Yeah. I've
you can.
Oh, Harry Potter. Sorry,
Comes out about once a year. No, I'm not that
Sorry, let me come out.
Oh yeah.
She's alright. She's just like really everyone in our country.
Yeah, you make it kind of
And start another one.